Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and berries, welcome to the Magic Brad Show and Synergy Cafe. I got my little beverage of choice here, which is coffee. I like coffee. I drink a lot of it. Too much. But I mix it 50-50 with milk. So, ta-da. So this is going to be kind of fun. I like talking about branding, and we're going to talk about branding and how to enrich your brand. And his name is Rich, and his last name is Kozak. And he doesn't know it, but I know a magician named Kozak. So I'm going to go into the green room and get Mr. Rich. He's in here somewhere. Where are you, Rich?
Here I am.
Good day.
Thank you. Good day to you.
What part of the world are you hailing from?
Well, I'm living in Los Angeles right now, and today it's not sunny. It's actually pouring down rain. So
the land of fruits and nuts. I've been there.
Mm-hmm. I'm an import from Pennsylvania and West Virginia.
I was out there for a couple of years in 1998 to 2000, and then I came back to Minneapolis, Minnesota.
It's a
great place to visit, but it's kind of hard to live there.
You got a long winter coming.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. Minneapolis, we get the snow, and Santa doesn't seem right without snow. So you're out there in California; it's kind of different out there. So you put the lights on a palm tree.
It was freaky. The first Christmas we spent here, we were playing tennis in our shorts. It was 85 degrees, and it did not feel right. Yeah,
it's a little different. You kind of wonder how do they come up with Christmas and snow when it's a global thing,
Indeed it is.
So let's get into the branding thing. We segue from Santa Claus because he branded himself very good. Everybody knows Santa. So what got you into this branding thing?
Well, I had a long career. Every aspect of my career was some kind of marketing, but the biggest stint I did was a 20-year stint as a high-tech ad agency VP. We had partners in 21 countries, and we helped guide companies how to evolve their brands to be successful at their business strategy. So that came from a background of degrees and working in Fortune 50 companies and working in factories and working in the field and calling on CEOs, and also played in a rock band, but that didn't help me. It was just nice telling the stories. But I ended up, and I had no idea what I wanted to be when I was in high school. I wanted to do everything, but I had no idea what I wanted to do for my career. So the irony that I ended up guiding large companies, and I mean, one of my clients was $14 billion company. So some of them weren't all that big, but they were millions and millions of dollars, guiding them in the strategy and the languaging they need to evolve their brand to be successful at their business strategy. When I was a kid who didn't know what I wanted to be is not, the irony of that never eluded me. So I guess you teach what you need is one of the great lessons of the universe. The goofy thing, and maybe it's goofy or maybe it's not, there are no coincidences. When I turned 50, I had been at the agency 17 and a half years. I've been clients all over the world and partners all over the place. And I was addicted to it. I was doing all-nighters, having a blast. A guy loved it. I just loved it. And I was quite good at it, but I felt like I was losing my health and I was not with my family a lot. And I decided to resign that addictive career to reshape my life. Sure. And I changed my prayer, Lord, show me what you want me to do. I'm ready. And we're going to resign this career to reshape my life. And I started listening. And after years, individuals started asking me, because I am a consummate networker. And my mother, who's now in heaven, says, Richard, you've always been busy. She was from West Virginia. And so I got busy doing stuff, waiting to see what God had in store for me. I did a lot of things. People kept asking me, help me with my brand. And I kept saying, I don't do that anymore. And they said, that's not true. You're in all these networking groups. You sit down with people, you give them phenomenal language and ideas, and you're just amazing, and I want you to help me. So I helped 3 people in a row, literally 3 people, 3 months in a row, asked me to help them. And the third was a pretty powerful coach. And she said, I'm handing you a client. And I got the download that maybe I am supposed to be doing this, but for a different reason. Mm-hmm. And so it didn't take long. What came to me is when I use these skills and these processes, because we would teach companies that branding is a process and walk them through it. Now, it's a big company. It takes months and months and months to get through the process of branding or rebranding. But the process is the same. It's kind of like marketing. It's always the same. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. So I started helping people pull from their hearts. These tended to be people that really wanted to impact others' lives. And you see the word impact above me if you have this on video. I have a publishing company called Impact Driven Publishing, and I speak about impact driven branding. So the book that is coming out, Impact Driven Branding, 7 Steps to Impact, to ensure your brand impacts people's lives in the world. It's a how-to book. It's not a book about branding. And it comes from my adapting this large company process to individuals in a way that allows the individuals to pull from their hearts that vision of the impacts they clearly see having on types of people when they thrive. And we're defining the brand they must become to make those impacts. So it's all impact driven. It's all completely authentic to their heart. It allows them to step into their own authenticity. And frankly, it gets them to the impacts faster, and it gets them to the money faster. So now I have a logo, RichBrands. The tagline says impacts abundance on purpose, because the reason I'm back in branding and I've been doing this 7 years now with individuals, and I'm going to be doing it a lot longer. I don't plan on stopping. It doesn't feel like work now, Brad. It feels like love, which is remarkable. And I have a lot of clients from a lot of places. They find me in all kinds of different ways. Our businesses aren't why we're here. Branding is great to build businesses, build a strong platform to get to abundance. But the wonderful thing is that platform enables you to more easily step into your purpose and why you're here.
Sure.
And I'm finding myself doing that with people who found me, and we thought it was about the business, but now their 3rd book is planned, and that book is about their purpose. And
so that's kind of like aligning your brand with your culture kind of thing, right?
Well,
Purpose, culture.
Kind of. When you write impacts down and the types of people that you clearly see making, one of the next questions is what characteristics, like descriptors, the brand must become. So if you must become and get credit for being, let's say, technology centric or caring or visionary or modeling, those characteristics are chosen by the person, but so they resonate with the word. But we literally ask the question, in what ways must you be those? And when you get finished that, you've defined the culture of the brand. You've defined their heart. You've defined their skills, their results, their higher level characteristics. Maybe they might be transformational. If that went down and they transformational in these 2 ways, you can read that piece of paper and literally see a brand that doesn't even exist, that exists on paper because of what you just did. And then
listening to you, you're obviously you've been doing this for a while, so it's really ingrained in you. So here's the question I got for you is the word brand gets thrown around all the time, and people say you should be working with big brands, but they're really talking about big companies. They're not talking about the brand of the company. They're just talking about a big company like Apple.
Yeah.
What's your vibe on brand? When I think brand, I think you branded it, and that's your cow now.
Well, that's where it came from, Bobby. That cow's yours. This heifer here's mine, because you can see it, right? Yeah, brand. You got
what it is. When you got a good brand, people go, I know exactly. Like we got the Target Corporation is headquartered here, and I can see the edge of a Target, red and white. I know it's them.
Okay, so that's one of the 4 things that makes a brand come alive. It's called recognizability. But there are 3 other things. So first of all, let me give you and every listener, and write it down if you have to, just stick it on your wall and you'll have clarity about branding forever. It won't ever confuse you. And it confuses a lot of people because the world does that. It uses the word branding to sell marketing. and nobody defines it, and very few teach it. So here goes. A brand is a perception, but it's not your perception. So branding is the things you get to do that create a consistent perception that moves the brand where it needs to move.
Mm-hmm.
And all those things that you get to do are marketing executional elements, but marketing comes second. Defining who a brand is, why it exists, what's in its heart, what it stands for, the impacts it clearly sees to make. Let's talk about the one thing that's missing: vision. If a brand says to you, even though you've never heard of it before, and it says, Brad, this is what we see for you. We've looked at you, we've listened to all yours, listen to your heart. This is what we see for you, for your life. And it might be difficult for you to see this, but take our arm, we'll take you there. And it creates a clear picture of what it sees for you. That is magnetic. Frankly, it's missing in many brands, big ones and small ones.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody goes, hey, you're a branding guy. Look at my website. I just redid it. What do you think? And I'll joke, because you should have called me before you redid it. But so I go on and I go, oh, so you're a coach. You have a method. It helps people release stress. Okay, so I see that it says things like a stress relief coach would say and so forth. But let me ask you a question. Yeah. Where is it on your website, that clear picture of what you see for the life of those whose lives you touch when they let your brand in? Where's that picture? They go, we don't have that. And I'll back off from the mic. Yeah. Like, why not? So that vision of what it sees for those whose lives it will touch is missing.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's there and when it's clear, it's magnetic and compelling. So a brand is a perception. Branding is all the things you get to do to create a clear, consistent perception.
Right.
So those four things that make a brand come alive, let's just name them. One is congruence, which means the brand and how it comes across and what it says is congruent with the heart of the champion of the brand. In individuals, it's the person. In a company, it might be the person who is responsible for carrying that brand and sharing it with the public. But often it's the creator of the brand himself, and they're still there, and now there's a company around them. But congruence is very important. The moment the brand starts talking or acting incongruently with the champion, there's going to be conflict, and you can smell it. People know it, and it's not authentic.
Sure.
Secondly is consistency across the board, the way it looks, the way it sounds, the way it talks, the way it shows up in everything from what's printed to what's on their website to what people say about it, to all that has to have a consistency. Here's the understanding. Just like a person, you wouldn't trust a person who you watch them do the same thing 10 different times and they do it 10 different ways. And you have no idea how they're going to do it next time. You don't know what to expect.
Right.
You just don't trust them. Well, brands are like that too. If they say this and then they say that, if they do this, but then they do that. If you take an individual, have you ever gone to a networking group and maybe somebody said, what do you do? And you explained it. And then somebody else came out and they said, what do you do? And you explained it differently. And
Right.
the first person looks at you like, well, I thought, it's like you can smell it's either confusion or misinformation. Brands, big ones, small ones, individuals, big companies
Sure.
do it all the time. And they do it as if they're clueless to what creates trust. So 4 things: congruence with the heart of the champion of the brand. 2, consistency across the board. 3 is probably the most important. It's certainly up there, 1 or 2. It's consistent and possibly unique language that transfers energy. So there's consistent language, possibly unique, I'll explain, that transfers energy. If the language of the brand is not consistent, you're going to create confusion or misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not unique, you may suffer being lumped in to be like everybody else. And the barrier becomes the perception of parity, which means, oh, another life coach. Great. That's what the world needs. Wah, wah. Oh, you're a financial advisor. That's nice. Oh, you're a podcaster. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Your brand fell flat.
Right.
We've all heard that, oh yeah, that's great. Very, yeah. Here's what it sounds like when a brand comes alive. Really? Okay. So I'm going to turn my head sideways. And if you're watching this on video, it's like a dog when you start talking to the dog and the dog flips its head on the side. Like, yeah. So it's like, well, what? I like, oh, that's good. I want that. What is that? Okay. So let me give you an example. I'll make it mundane. Yoga.
Okay.
So somebody says, oh, we're opening a new yoga studio. It's down on 3rd Street. And, we do all the yogas or whatever they do, right? And you go, oh, that's nice. Good. Or they say, we're opening a new yoga spa called Awaken Yoga Spa, where we do one-on-one personalized yoga with integrative modalities. And we specialize in body intelligent yoga. Oh my God. I've been doing yoga for years, but I never heard of body. I want that. Okay. There you go. It's like,
be consistent with that.
Words transfer energy.
Sure.
And so if every time that person goes to a network meeting or stands in front of an audience of 5,000 people and they repeat the language and there's uniqueness, that creates positioning. It creates a magnet if the language is written to attract those whom they had in their mind's eye and wrote down they want to impact their lives. And they know what those people are thinking. I don't think I'll ever get this yoga thing right. I want to go to the next level, but I don't know who my Sherpa will be. I've been doing yoga for a long time. It feels same old. Isn't there another level? Those and they say that, and those people are like, the hook goes in the fish.
Got it.
And that consistent, possibly unique language that transfers energy, and then recognizability. The way it shows up, looks, colors, logo, tagline, the way it is on paper, controlling that so that people can't use it any way they want and put it on tops of photos and all that kind of stuff. You've got to control it so it's consistent or not. But don't make that mistake. So it's very simple that a brand is a perception. It's the way people perceive it. It's the personality attributes they give it. It's those characteristics. The reason I love listening to Brad's show is because he's so peaceful and so uplifting in the way he speaks. And he gives his guest such leeway and in drilling down into something that might be helpful for the audience. And he has that laugh that puts you at ease. I just love him. And he doesn't come across as, aloof. He's just, he's way better than the guy next door. He's, and you can tell he's lived a long time. He kind of has that knowing, the cat ate the canary grin.
I'm not going to edit this.
Anyway, it's like, what characteristics do people perceive?
Like personality of the brand, almost.
Personality, all those attributes of personality, speech pattern. Are you didactic? Are you always teaching things, or are you conversational? Are you aloof, or are you accessible? It's like these are engagement attribute. Personality is it could be uplifting or critical. It's like it could be all these things. Brands have characteristics, and they're either going to get credit for the ones they must get credit for to make their impacts, or they're not. And when they choose ad messages or visuals or stories that are incongruent with those characteristics that they really want, what are they thinking? Well, they're not thinking, and they weren't trained in branding. They're like winging it, or they're hiring an agency that's winging it. And so
Well, like
Magic.
going back to Target Corporation, I remember one of the things that sticks in my head with them is whenever I had to return something, they didn't
Yeah,
ask any questions. They just did it, and it was so comfortable, not having to prove it doesn't fit or whatever. They just took it back, and it was just so that's part of their brand is that they're easy to work with.
it is. It is part of their brand promise, is that that they're that they're accessible. You can talk to them. They solve problems. They want you to be satisfied with what you purchased. And so if there's a situation where you're not, they make sure you are. So they're committed to that, and they're getting credit for that by you because you've had that experience.
So we've gone for about 21 minutes here, and I don't like to do these too long because people can't consume the whole thing if it's a 2-hour show. So we keep it kind of tight.
Mm.
In parting, but before we do that, is there a place where people can learn more about some of this stuff? Like you gave me a website. Let me see. This one here. If they go here to thebrandyoubecome.com,
Yep.
what happens?
Well, there's a little video that's about 9 or 10 seconds of me, and it says, hey, get the free videos. There's 8 of them. It's 1 or 2 minutes a piece. It's straight talk answers, not branding pablum or tricky entrancing language like you hear from most branding people. Answering frequently asked questions about branding. People struggle with it. And so get straight answers to the questions. Just go to thebrandyoubecome.com, type in your email. You get an email back with a link. The link allows you to download, and you can share that link with anybody you want to. Share the brand you will become. People need to get their heads on straight about what a brand really is and not listen to all those things people say they need because they're selling them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've gone really, really drilled kind of deep on this, more so than most people. Most people say your brand, your colors your logo got to match the front of your office. And it's so much more than that. And you've kind of delved into the psychology of it all and the feeling and the energy flow and stuff. That's really important.
Brad, I graduate a group of people who have gone through what I call Brand Accelerator Group every quarter, who have done the work in 7 days over 8 weeks and a couple of month breaks to define and language the brand they will become. And they have 3 to 4 years of content, titles and subtitles, unique language, book titles, names of their events and products. It all happens. And when it's all aligned to your impacts, you will race there faster. So there is a way. People don't know this exists. That's one of the reasons I'm publishing the book, so that it gets out there. There is a way that you have access to 7 steps to ensure your brand impacts people's lives in the world.
So you also do some speaking, you mentioned, right?
I love to speak, and it's not always teaching. Sometimes it's life skills. Sometimes it's strategy nuggets. I have a new podcast that's just being recorded. I just did 13 episodes, and each of those podcasts with a guest offers 2 strategy nuggets and action items so that people can do stuff right now. So I'm really in the mood to say, here's a strategy nugget. Write this down, do this. Step 1, step 2, step 3. It's not difficult. Branding is just a process, but most people won't ever say that to you.
Yeah, kind of like a recipe, you got to get it all right, the right amounts and all that kind of stuff. I get that.
Kind of
So
like,
when you're speaking and stuff, do you speak in like travel? Because like in Minneapolis here, we got a lot of corporate. We got General Mills, Pillsbury, Medtronic, 3M, Honeywell.
I do, and I've been married for 45 years and 50 Valentine's days, and chances are I'll bring my wife with me.
We got room.
And we'll both travel, won't we?
Yes, sir. Well, this has been very good. It's really given me some thought because I've got what I call entrepreneurial ADD, and I'm always looking at other things. And I get in, I create another new image, and then it's multiple brands all over the place. I try and steal
Guilty.
Brad brand.
We all we're all human.
It's so easy.
You're good, man. You're good. This is much easier to do for others than it is to do for myself. It's like everybody needs a coach. So
It is, because
the
you get
exciting thing is
you
most
put the
people,
colors into your brand, and then you go to an event and the colors are different. You think, oh, it doesn't look right good there. The orange with the purple carpet, that doesn't, well,
there
make
are
it
ways
work.
there are ways to make sure that you're in control, and um it's okay. uh, you and I could do this a lot. I tell you what, why don't I let you know when the book is about to come out?
Sure.
It'll be, I'm speaking at the Best You event in Los Angeles in March. It will be before that because I'm doing a book signing there, and maybe we'll meet again and use this kind of a different way
Sure.
to take lives to a higher level. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to pop you into the green room there. And like I mentioned before, there are some digital hors d'oeuvres, very low cal. If you want to help yourself, go ahead. And
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking the time, Rich. This is very good. Again, it's got me thinking on a deeper level and how to hone all that in and brand my cattle.
Well, you're welcome, MagicBrad. Thanks for having me. It's been my pleasure.
Hey, thank you, sir. Well, there you got it, Rich Kozak. And here you can get a hold of this right here is where it is. TheBrandYouWillBecome.com. Stick that in your head. Brand that in your head. So I hope you enjoyed the program. You can find the replays on YouTube. It'll be there for a while, and it's also broadcast on Facebook and LinkedIn. So there you go. Peace, love, and happiness. This is MagicBrad signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be good. Be kind. Be nice. Did I say be nice? Be nice.